What's up YouTube, Adam here, and in this video I'm going to be bringing you my full review of this, the iPhone 5S. Now my review is a little bit late, I must admit, but I wanted to use this for quite a bit longer than the usual amount of time to really give you guys my full opinion on some things that just take that little bit longer. Things like battery life, for example, things like the new Touch ID, you know, okay, it works for the first few days. How does that actually progress over the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks? So I'm going to bring you guys all of that information that I've discovered over those past 4 to 6 weeks in this review. And just before we start, to let you know, this video is brought to you by buymobiles.net. For all of your smartphone and contract needs, definitely go and check out their website. They do some absolutely fantastic deals on smartphones and contracts. Now into the review itself, and let's start off with the colour. I actually opted for the gold version, but there is a new addition as well as gold to the colours of the iPhone 5S, and that is indeed space grey. We've still got the white and silver version as well. Now, apart from the actual colours, not a huge amount has changed in the overall build quality and design. Still absolutely impeccable build quality, right up there as probably the best build quality of any phone, maybe with only the HTC One coming close to a similar build quality. Now, in addition to the dual LED flash modification in terms of design on the back, we've also got a slight modification to the actual home button itself. Now, all the way around the outside now of the home button is a ring, in this case a gold ring because it matches the colour of the phone, and that enables the phone to provide us with the most innovative thing I've seen on a smartphone in a long time, and that is Apple's brand new Touch ID. Now, Touch ID really is an absolutely incredible addition to the iPhone 5S, and Apple have implemented it absolutely perfectly. You get the ability to add up to 10 fingers, so you can add all of your own fingers, or indeed you could use certain other items, or indeed you could allow your family to have access to your phone as well. Now, you can actually hold your finger or thumb in any direction whatsoever once you've got it actually programmed into the phone, and it will detect it. And I've had probably around a 98% success rate in terms of actually unlocking my phone and buying apps and also music using the Touch ID button. So really pleased that Apple have managed to implement that so successfully, so perfectly, and as usual it really does just work. Now, in addition to the dual LED flash and also the Touch ID button, the camera has been revamped as well, and Apple have upped the sensor size and also just added some new software into the mix. Now, the iPhone 5 for me, up there with the Lumia 1020, were the two very best smartphone cameras around on any smartphone, and the 5S really does make some significant improvements upon that, not only in terms of actual picture quality and low light performance, but also in terms of the new camera software that comes with not only the iPhone 5S, but with the brand new iOS 7. Now, some of the software features that come with the iPhone 5S are that you can now record in slow motion, and that's full 120 frames per second at 720p. It still does all of the usual 1020p at 30 frames per second, still got the video stabilization, and it is an absolutely impeccable camera. The slow motion really does add an extremely nice feature to your phone, giving you the ability to slow down pretty much any kind of video that you would like to, and it really does just work very easily indeed, and just makes some videos a lot more fun when you add in the slow motion. The new interface is very intuitive and very easy to use. Gives you the ability to slide between square, slow motion, video, and also panoramic, which works extremely well as well. They've also made the aperture slightly bigger, so it works slightly better in low light, although that does just very so slightly decrease the sharpness from the iPhone 5. But all round, the camera on the iPhone 5S absolutely is the best smartphone camera on the market, along with the Lumia 1020. The only difference being that with the Lumia 1020, you have to put a lot more work into making your pictures good, whereas on the 5S, they just come out absolutely fantastic. Now, the screen is still exactly the same as it has always been on this most recent generation of iPhone. We've still got that Retina display. Now, the actual PPI is not quite as good as a lot of smartphones on the market today with 326 PPI, but the actual screen itself is a fantastic screen. Now, in terms of actual picture reproduction, color reproduction, clarity, contrast, everything about it is an absolutely fantastic screen. For me, the only downside is that it is only a 4-inch screen. For me, one of the huge things that needs to change on the iPhone 5 or 6 indeed when that comes out is to have the option at least of a bigger screen. When you start comparing it to some of the other fantastic smartphones that are out there on the market today, things like the Nexus 5 or indeed the Note 2 or the HTC One, the iPhone 5S screen really does look absolutely tiny. And although this is fantastic for one-handed operation, I think for most people the sweet spot is going to be somewhere in the region of about 4.7 inches. And I think if Apple just increased it by that much, it wouldn't add any negatives to most people's daily usage. You'd still be able to use it one-handed, but it would definitely give a much better user experience. Now, in terms of the changes that you can't see, Apple have given the internals of the iPhone 5S a huge upgrade with the new 64-bit A7 processor. Now, when you read the specs of this, you might be a little bit miffed because it comes in at just a dual-core 1.3 gigahertz processor with 1 gigabyte of RAM. But when you actually compare this, even with some of the latest quad-core phones that are on the market today, the iPhone 5S is right up there in terms of benchmarks, and in terms of real life performance generally beats most other phones that are out there on the market today. So that huge upgrade is really appreciated from Apple, and in fact we're still not really seeing the full benefits of that 64-bit processor until some people start actually utilizing it. Now, they also added in an M7 processor as well, which enables the phone to fully monitor all of your motion. And actually Nike have just recently brought out their Nike Plus Move application, which utilizes this, which means that you're fully monitoring your motion all of the time, which is going to be a really nice addition moving forward when some more applications take advantage of that, with a very small hit on battery life. And in fact, as we move forward onto battery life, this has only, again, got a very small battery, 1560 milliamp hour battery. Now, although it's a small battery, it still does last a reasonable period of time. As always, we would always like it longer. Me personally, I don't see why they don't add a couple of millimeters to the phone itself and give us a 2500 milliamp hour battery that lasts for 2 days. That would be absolutely fantastic. But what we've got right now is a phone that if you use with medium usage, it will last you all day. Medium to heavy usage, it definitely won't last you a full day. You're going to need to potentially give it a little bit of a charge in between. Now, with the downsides being that the battery doesn't necessarily last as long as you would like it to with that smaller size, one of the upsides to that is that you can charge it very quickly. For those phones that have got 3,300 milliamp hour batteries, they take a fair time to charge. With this bit in just a 1560 milliamp hour battery, you can charge it very quickly indeed, which is extremely nice when you're in the car or maybe on the go and you need to get some charge in it nice and quickly. As we mentioned earlier with the camera, iOS 7 itself is a brand new operating system for the iPhone 5S, and it really doesn't particularly thrill or disappoint in any way. It just continues to work exactly the same as it did before, but with a nice kind of little overhaul in terms of the way it sort of looks and feels. And that was very much welcomed by me specifically, just to have a nice little kind of new coat of paint, something that looks slightly different. They've added in a couple of really nice features though. I really like the control center that you can use when you swipe up from the bottom, giving you shortcut access to a whole bunch of different features, including volume, calculator, torch, and also some toggles for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But it would have been really nice if they could have just allowed us to choose those applications and those toggles ourselves in the settings. Now, a couple of things that we don't normally talk about in terms of reviews, I don't particularly because most phones are exactly the same, is call quality. Now, yes, this is a phone, and yet in reviews we don't talk about call quality, which is kind of strange, but I've got to say, the call quality on the iPhone 5S is the best that I've ever used on any phone. They've added in some noise cancellation, which is absolutely fantastic and works phenomenally well, not only in terms of actual phone call quality, but also in terms of audio quality when you're taking video with the phone. If you're in an extremely noisy room or in an extremely noisy environment, it perfectly cuts out all of that background noise and gives you absolutely impeccable sound quality. So very impressed on that side. They've also upgraded the front-facing camera, and I've found some huge improvements in terms of not only the actual overall performance of that, but also the low light performance as well. So that's again a nice feature, especially when more and more people are using things like Skype and FaceTime, and potentially at night or laying in bed talking to your friends or partners. The usual things still come into play. The actual ecosystem in terms of the App Store and the iTunes Store are far beyond anything else that is out there in the marketplace today. Some of the other app stores do come close in terms of numbers, but in terms of quality, the actual quality of the applications on the App Store really do shine through. Quite often you'll get exactly the same application on multiple platforms, and the one written for iOS is always just that little bit better, and Apple really are quite far ahead of everyone else in that particular department. Now, to sum up, should you buy the Apple iPhone 5S? Well, if you're from a Apple iPhone 4 or 4S, you should definitely upgrade. This is going to be an incredible upgrade for you from the 4 or 4S. You're going to notice a whole bunch of stuff, not only that bigger screen, but also all of the new performance improvements, and that camera is significantly better than the 4 and the 4S. If you've got an iPhone 5, do you want to upgrade? Potentially not. But if you are really into your photography, the camera on this really is quite a jump from the iPhone 5, and I think it's going to be a significant improvement over what you've got already that you will definitely notice. The slow motion as well and the Touch ID for me make it probably the best S upgrade that there has ever been from Apple, and I've been absolutely blown away by the overall package that you get with it. Now, my final opinion of the 5S. For me, this has obviously been the best iPhone that has ever existed, as it should be. It's the latest one. But for me, there's been something slightly different about this particular iPhone. Normally, I'm very disappointed, and I think I wish they'd have added this, I wish they'd have added this. But for one reason or another, probably the Touch ID and the improvements with the camera and audio quality, plus iOS 7, this has probably been my favourite iPhone released, and my favourite iPhone I've ever owned as well. So I've been very, very pleased and very, very impressed, probably for one of the first times with an iPhone release. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please do hit that like button for me. It really helps me out. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. See ya.